turn it off and then go back. Like go out of Facebook, back to Facebook. You didn't get out of Facebook?
Yeah, I went out of Facebook.
Close Facebook, reopen. Well, we'll do that. I'll invite people. Let me know. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Dateline New Haven. I'm Paul Bass, inviting you to look behind the headlines. Rodney Williams makes New Haven tick all the time, whether it's with his own construction company, Green Elm Construction on Dixwell Avenue, or whether it's a community management team meetings, whether it's at the Board of Police Commissioners or wherever around town. Something's happening. Rodney's got something worth hearing about it. We're going to talk about the story of the day, which is COVID-19. Rodney, welcome to Dateline New Haven, and thanks for coming on.
Appreciate being here, Paul.
And were you able to get the Facebook?
Tell you the truth, no, I still don't see it refreshing. I still see
if you go to New Haven Independent Facebook page, you don't see the video.
I see it now.
All right, cool. So anyway, Rodney, I want to talk to you about COVID because we talked off the air about it. I want to talk to you personally, and I also want to talk about your view from the community about what's happening with COVID-19 and what we need to do to keep people safe
Rodney,
and to keep our community strong. So, Rodney, how are you doing personally? You feeling okay?
Yeah, I'm doing okay, but I think it's more emotional right now than physical.
Are you doing most of what a lot of us are doing, where it's the middle of the night and you cough and you say, "Oh man, I got COVID-19." Do you do any of that? No.
Well, it's like being a sheetrocker. I've always had like a small kind of cough anyway, so it's like you get paranoid, your heart start racing a little bit, but then you just got to realize that before this even came, every once in a while you had a cough anyway. So
because we're at an age where it doesn't play. Like it's not a good idea for us to get it. Are you out sheetrocking?
No, right now. We was doing a project out in Shelton, refinishing some floors and stuff. Basically what I do right now is I'm in my office. We still working on projects that are in the pipeline, in the process of getting permits on, and just funding. So in a way, I go from my house to my office, and every once in a while I go sit on the back of my boat. So I try to just be careful about where I go and try not to mingle with too many people. But I am out still in the street.
Rodney, there are construction jobs going around town.
Oh, yeah.
I noticed at Yale, at Southern, at Olive Street, Audubon Street, Gold Street, Howe Street. What's happening at the Q House? Have you noticed what's going on there?
The Q House, the steel is up. They're actually doing the brickwork over there. I think that one of the, when you look at economically, like even before this virus, very few minorities was getting work. And when you look right now, they telling us to be homes, stay safe, this and that. But you still got workers coming into our town making money. And I really don't feel like that's right. That we need to focus on how we get residents working, because the truth is this: when this is over, we still gonna owe money. And how do we get out of that hole? But if we was working on these projects that are going on right now in this city, at least we could have an option, either go to work or stay home. And after this is over, we would still have some kind of money. This virus is exposing a lot of things in our community. And the lack of opportunities, when this is over, it's going to be sad because a lot of us ain't going to be able to recover from it.
And so what are you seeing specifically that people are not going to recover from falling behind on the rent? I mean, obviously, in communities where people have service jobs and no unions, they're the first ones to lose the job, right? Unless they're doing something like delivering food, right?
Well, if you look at the rent, they're talking about they ain't doing evictions. They're not going to do evictions for a certain amount of time, but it's just a matter of time before the evictions come back. So it's not like a mortgage or car payment. They're going to put, you got a 36 month, they put it on the backside. No, you got 12 months in a year, you're supposed to pay rent. So if they freeze evictions for 3 months, after the third month, you owe 4 months rent. Like, how do you How do you?
I was wondering about that. Before the show, I was actually talking to a legal aid lawyer about that, and I'm wondering why we can't set up a fund. So millions of dollars are flowing through charitable organizations, Community Foundation, United Way. Then they give to agencies like Liberty Community Services, Legal Aid. What if tenants who lost their job were able to tap that money to pay the rent? So their landlord could pay the mortgage. And so they don't have that bill that comes due after the moratorium. Can you think of a community agency that might be a good clearinghouse for that in the Black community? A trusted group that could get money from the Community Foundation, United Way, and then tenants can come and say, here's proof I lost my job. Let's give the money to my landlord, and I'm not behind on the rent, and they're not behind on the mortgage. They can make repairs.
Paul, there's nobody that I feel that I think could do that. I think what needs to happen is when you look at the banks are working with people with their mortgages, that's people that live in the house. They're not talking about investors. So I think what need to happen if the government is really trying to help, they need to identify these investors that own properties and tell them the same thing. Tell them, listen, we know we're going through. We're gonna give you a break for 3 months, but we want you to do the same thing to the tenants. The only way that's going to work is if they do that. They actually have to hit all mortgages to do that, because that's the only
That's why
way.
I'm wondering if you can give the money to the tenant, then the tenant gets a receipt and gives it to the landlord, or at least the person giving it to the tenant has it on record, so you can't evict them later.
Well, I wouldn't get the money to the tenant, because at the end of the day, if the tenant don't pay the rent, we still do the same thing. I would think that that the tenant should have some type of documentation, and that documentation can get forwarded to someplace, and based on that documentation, the government pay the landlord.
Mhm.
So it's a guaranteed payment.
We're talking to Rodney Williams. He runs Green Elm Construction. He's a voice around town in every pressing issue, and we're talking about COVID-19. Dateline New Haven, 103.5 FM, live streamed at newhavenindependent.org. You brought something up the other day when someone else was on the show about small contractors getting paid. So one of your issues for a while has been when government makes an opportunity available to a Black or Hispanic-owned small contractor, a sub, they take so long to pay the bill that then that sub can't pay their workers. So then that sub can't keep the job and keep the money going in and staying in business. Have you noticed any aspect of this crisis in either direction affecting that dynamic? Is government trying to get some money out faster than it did before with less paperwork, or has bureaucracy gotten even tougher to respond to?
I think when you look at what they're doing right now, they passed a lot of money, but you got to look at the documents. And everybody that I'm talking to, basically saying the same thing. The qualifications, the bar is at the same level it was before, and we ain't gonna be able to get that money.
They say
So
what?
we're not gonna, a lot of small contractors ain't gonna be able to qualify for the loan. Even right
And why
now,
can't
like,
they qualify?
well, here's what I'm gonna tell you. Like, so if you got a credit issue, a credit situation, they want you to have a certain credit score. But here's what the problem is, Paul. So say we start a project, and I'll give a good example, but it's not a good example. We started with Housing Authority project. So we're doing a Housing Authority project. They pay you a certain amount of time out. They approve a rec, and then when you get a rec, the rec is less, and then they got change orders. So change orders come up, Paul. We got to do the work. I got to do certified payroll state that I paid the person for that work. But then the work that I did for change order, you get paid 90 days out. So how do I take what little money I got that I'm getting, that I'm making, pay for change orders, get paid 90 days out, and maintain a certain credit score? So I think that the system is designed to do exactly what it's due, and it's to keep us where we at. And here's what I say. If somebody out there in this audience saying that I'm not right, tell me in New Haven how many small businesses that you know that are making a lot of money, that you saw grow. There's no businesses. Even with the small business stuff they talking about doing in New Haven, Paul, there are people in that small business group making several $1 million, and there's people in there making nothing, and they write on these jobs right now. So
well, I see two kinds of issues, Rodney Williams. The first issue you were bringing up that I was hearing was that the way they set the rules, it's going to be harder for the smaller contractor and the contractor of color to qualify. For instance, your credit score is less likely to meet the bar because you don't have enough extra capital on hand, that if you have to get paid late by government, you have to make your own payroll, you're going to be scrambling. I've noticed the second issue is someone who owns a small business in town, who also does not make in the millions. I didn't get a chance to apply for the state money because 24 hours after the portal opened, I was still running my business. It was closed.
Yeah.
So it's the federal one's about to open today. So I got someone to do it for me. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to qualify or not. But one thing I learned from that was I didn't have the time or the expertise
to even do the paperwork,
navigate those rules, even if I do qualify. So I'm going to turn another question back to you that I asked you before. Might there be an opportunity for someone in the Black community who is good at navigating bureaucracy, who's good and has the time to pursue this funding on behalf of others who don't, to take a cut on commission if they make it? They got time now anyway. I found someone who is really good at just battling bureaucracy. I don't know if she can get me the money, but if she does, I said, look, if you get it, you get a chunk. Do you think there are there navigators like the Greater New Haven Business and Professional Organization? Could they do it for you guys?
I think right now, that's a specialty. You know what I mean? Everybody can't navigate through them waters that you're talking about.
I can't.
And that's why we're here right now. So what I think, like, what should happen, I think that the government should realize that there is an issue on that level and find resources for people on that level, but also identify people that we could go to help us. Mm-hmm. So this should have been two levels of money, Paul. It should have been that small business loan and a micro loan. You know what I mean? For micro businesses, because we are not all the same small business. How do I fit underneath the same business that's talking about you got under 500 people? I'm like,
right.
Me and you in the same pool, we signed in the same application. There should be a loan for people like that. And then Paul, a loan for somebody like myself who's a smaller business that's trying to grow, and I'm hiring people in the community. So
how many people work for you, Rodney?
Right now? Huh?
Yeah.
Ain't nobody working me right now, Paul.
No, I mean,
but you know, I had 8-9 people working for me when we did the housing, and the projects is coming up right now. We're probably going to hire at least 20-25 people. But it's snags like this that, you know, it either puts you in business or put you out of business. Because I don't got a lot of overhead, I could, you know, ride through this. But they still need to figure out how to set up another bar, lower the bar, have somebody else, you know, figure out how to get us funded. Because the truth is this, that our companies, the country's not going to come back, Paul, just because big business is back in business. It's the combination of people on the ground like me, because I'm hiring in the community, because the people that's working for me, if they ain't working for me, who are they working for? Nobody. So because they work for me, it still stimulates the community, and it's me and big business come together doing what we doing, make the country come back. But the big businesses ain't going to be the only one that's going to bring us back. And they could keep dumping money all they want, Paul. If they keep dumping money to the same people getting the money, and the same people not getting money going to be doing what? It's still going to drag the country down. So they need to wake up. Well, that's what I keep
coming back to. So your point's well taken. And that the money they're giving out, we know the bulk's going to go to the big guys who probably don't even need or deserve it, like the cruise ships and the airlines. There is money for us. But as you point out, it's harder for us to get it. I'm wondering if we can get a team going in Dixwell, in New Hallville, in the Hill, in Fairhaven. We have smart people.
Yeah.
We have people who right now might have the time to figure out how to get everybody else. I'm wondering why we don't maybe acknowledge that government's not there for us, and that we got to find our own people to get the crumbs they're given, because they're not bad crumbs.
Yeah, they're not.
You could get $30,000-$40,000, Rodney. Yeah. That's not bad.
That's not bad. You know what I mean? But sometimes, Paul, help ain't help. So they're making this big thing about they helping us, but you know, who is us? The us they talking about, Paul, ain't me and you.
See, we're agreeing with that. Where I'm pushing you is saying, yes, that's true. So what can we do about it ourselves?
Well, I think what we could do is if we could get in touch with state legislators, the mayor, board of alders, and tell them our story. And maybe we can find people in our community that could do exactly what you say. Like right now, why don't somebody come ask a question or come up here right now and say they're capable of doing that? Because the truth is, Paul, we need help. But where is the help? Somebody needs to step
Yeah.
up and say, we know what you're going through, and I'm willing to help. And even if it's a cut, hey, I understand nobody should have to work for free. If you can help me identify some resources, I don't have a problem with paying that because I'm not working for free either.
Uh-huh.
But the truth is, who are they? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what our problem is right now. And this thing came out of nowhere. Then they got a time frame for. Look how fast that money dried up in the state. It dried up that fast because guess what, Paul? They told people already. Somebody was talking. Ain't no way that money went poof that quick. They knew in advance. They probably got
Actually,
a call.
Rodney, I think that people who work in companies that are bigger have somebody who does only that all day.
Oh yeah.
So I work in a smaller company. It's not their fault that I don't have someone who could just do nothing but sit all day knowing when they put out the word it's going online at 9 a.m. to be that first batch that crashes the computer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got to find some way out of this. And we're
Yeah,
doing
but
that
Paul,
on
this ain't the first time they had money.
Yeah.
And they do know that every time they pass out money, it never hit the ground. So that's why I say to you, were they trying to help us anyway? Because they should have known the same thing was going to happen. You can't say that you didn't know. It's like that guy now, that governor talking about, oh, I didn't know that the virus was that contagious. I'm like, you sound stupid saying that. They knew for years we are not getting this money in our state, Paul.
Yeah. And we're talking about that on Dateline New Haven, WNHH FM, 103.5 FM, live streamed at newhavenindependent.org. Rodney Williams, Green Elm Construction activist in New Haven, is here talking about COVID-19. Rodney, I remember when it first came out, COVID-19, I'm talking a month ago, which is like a million years ago. I was hearing a lot of talk in the Black community saying it doesn't affect us. Nobody Black's getting it.
And I was one of them saying that.
I remember early March, they were shutting things down. And it wasn't only the Black community. There were some Orthodox Jewish communities. There were some others who said, how dare you tell us not to get 100 people in a room to pray? How dare you say, I don't see people falling down on the street? And they got a lot of people sick. When did you see that change?
I saw it. People started putting stuff on Facebook, and it wasn't happening in New Haven, but it's happening in like other cities. And then that's when I realized that, hey, this is real.
When was that for you?
That was probably about maybe a week ago.
That recently?
Yeah, about a week
ago.
March
15th, you told me you were on Dixwell Avenue and you saw the big crowd at Trinity Temple. They had a national convention.
Yeah.
Hundreds of people in a small room.
Yeah.
There was already an order begging people not to have services in town.
That's not the only church.
I know some people have gotten sick from that day.
Varick had it. Varick was open too. I seen the whole Dixwell Avenue was pretty much lit up with people.
What were you thinking that day?
That day I was just thinking that to me, like, Paul, I'm anytime you ever bring me on a show, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I'm not gonna hold back. People might not like what I'm gonna say, but before that I was talking about the fact that we got a lot of Black churches, and I didn't see a lot of the Black churches doing anything in the community to help the community, but they was having services, getting ties. Me personally, I felt like that was wrong. I don't feel like they should have did that. And yeah, my family, I'm from a religious background, and I understand that the Black people, we love to get together, and times like this is what we do. We pray. But this ain't regular times. And I think that, when you look at the pastors that are leaving churches, I think their job is to protect the flock. You know what I mean? I don't feel like what was going on was necessarily protecting the flock. I think it was more like a business decision. And
More like a what?
a business decision. I don't think it was good business.
But is it a
Because
good business decision if your people then get sick and can't come to church?
that wasn't a good decision,
Mm.
you know.
I know a lot of people made that decision. How about now? What are you seeing on Dixwell Avenue?
On Dixwell Ave, I see a lot of people is paying attention to that. Very, very little traffic. If you see somebody walking down the street, you might see somebody another 300-400 feet. So it's like you don't even, when you talk about the 6 feet, how about 600 feet? You know what I mean? So
So the word's out.
oh yeah, the word is out. And I think that, when you look at what's going on in our state, when you talk about this virus, I want to bring some back because I know you talked about the black thing, but I want to talk about the white thing too. That when Fairfield County had a cluster going on, and they was booming, they was expanding. I do want to talk about, I feel like, we talk about the black churches, but let's talk about the fact that what was going on in the white community with the people who got the money, because they was down there and they boomed and they exploded this all around our state right now. And even though what happened in our community with the black, if you still look at the numbers, our numbers are very low compared to what's happening down there. And I'm confused about why the governor, when you look at what they did in New York, they isolated that community, right? Put a chain around it and said, let's do that. Why didn't the governor never do nothing about that? Was that because he lived down there? Because here's what I do know. I do know if that happened in Newhallville, and let that situation where the church turn into 100, 200, you know what I mean? They would be airdropping us peanut butter jelly sandwiches, you know what I mean? Telling us don't come outside. Okay, yeah. So I just think that, we in two worlds, Paul. And I feel like the black community.
You're talking about why you're talking about Fairfield County was where it began in Connecticut, because you're talking about two different things. In New Rochelle, it was a Jewish community and the governor did seal it off.
Oh, yeah.
In Fairfield County, we learned about Westport, a very wealthy party where a guy came visiting and everyone got sick and they didn't want to tell anybody. They didn't want to lose their spot on the Little League. They didn't want to be embarrassed with their neighbors. And that was never shut off. The town knew about it and the governor never did anything. So and that's your point. Your point is not specific to the black community. It's to every community.
Yeah.
And you're saying that the government didn't react.
No. I'm saying, because when you say that we all in this together, because, Mayor Elliker says it, that we're all in this together. So if we all in this together, and the truth is, we all could get it, and we all realize this now, black, white, the Jewish people, we all could get this, Paul. We all could die from this. So it shouldn't matter the color you are. It's the actions that you're doing. If your actions are jeopardizing our lives, somebody need to acknowledge that and deal with it. And I feel like they didn't deal with that. They didn't even acknowledge it, that it was a problem that was going to have a rippling effect in our country, in our state.
Yeah.
He never said nothing about that. Everybody talk about when something happened in New Haven, like they're talking about it was reckless about somebody doing this, reckless about doing that. But why nobody saying, like, I don't hear nobody saying it was reckless that the people down there had all that money, like on another level. I don't hear it. Like it's a whisper. Like a couple of people talking about what happened down here, but it's never brought out like it's brought out right now in this type of conversation. It was never brought out like this. You hear about the churches, the large gatherings of black people, but you don't hear about the large gathering of the white people with the money.
Yeah.
That right now, a lot of people got sick, and that number still where they at, where we at, even though we did have gatherings. Let's just be clear. Our numbers are still kind of low. We do have people in this city that aren't doing well. But when you still look at the numbers, Paul, I think we did wake up and we start saying, hey, let's
Rodney, I agree with you about it's unfair to put attention on gatherings in the black community when they did nothing about the white community and starting in Fairfield County. I am going to disagree with you about something. I don't think you can compare our numbers to say we're not getting hit as much, because this wave, it moves in waves. We're a week behind Fairfield County. Our numbers are starting to climb. The first individual who died in New Haven was a wonderful African-American man who was beloved, drug treatment counselor Curtis Hunt. He was in the hospital with two other people from Hill Health. I don't think it hits one race more than the other. I think it's taken its time to move from Westchester to Fairfield to New Haven. And in New Haven, I don't think any one group is less at risk than any other.
Well, I hear what you're saying, and the truth is this: the numbers ain't gonna lie, and time gonna tell. When I was on your last show, you had them people up there. They were saying what they were saying. I disagreed with them. A couple of weeks later, you said, Rodney, I was right. So right now, that's your opinion. You see things how you see it, because the truth is this, Paul: we all on the same mountain. And when you
Yeah.
look out your mountain, you see what you see, and that's your truth. And I'm on a mountain too. And when I look out and I see what I see, it's my truth too.
Well, I
And
think I
time
see
will
what you
tell.
see. I
Time
think I
will tell.
see what you see, that every group had the gatherings, and the governor didn't do anything about those gatherings in Fairfield County. I'm agreeing you with that.
No, I'm saying not the fact that like even now, like we talking about the gathering of what happened in the black churches. But the truth is this: we don't know where the people who gathered in Fairfield County actually went, where it actually trickled, where it could have affected us too. We don't know that.
Oh, I agree with you.
We
We
don't
do
we don't
know.
we don't know, because
It
they
did
say how this
trickle.
thing is.
They
Some people can
started
have
it.
it and not even know
Yeah.
you got it, and be spreading it. But I
No,
just think that
I'm agreeing with you about that, Rodney. They
yeah,
had a story in the Times about that gathering in Westport that spread it out to everybody.
yeah, but it's not the Times talking about it, but Connecticut ain't talking about it.
Gotcha. All right, but we're
That's my
talking about
point. So
Dateline, New
why New
Haven.
York talking about something that's happening in Connecticut, and Connecticut ain't talking about nothing down there, but they talking about things that's happening in the black community. That's my point. Let's talk about
Okay,
everything.
that's a good point, Rodney. And that's a point on Dateline New Haven with Rodney Williams, 103.5 FM, live streamed at newhavenimpen.org. So what do we do now, Rodney? We talked about the need for government to help get that money in the hands of people who need it or are least likely to get it, the smaller business tenants. Talked about the need to have people in the community maybe step up and demand that help. What else do you need to see in terms of keeping people safe in the community?
I think people need to realize that this is real, that this could impact everybody, and we need to come out the house as least as possible, interact with people as least as possible, um, communicate on Facebook. You know what I mean? Communicate with your cell phones. But we also need to reach out to your neighbors, reach out to your friends, because the truth is this, Paul. Um, if we do that to save each other lives, some people still gonna starve though, because they ain't got no food. So you tell us to do one thing so something don't spread, but they need to spread some groceries.
So, what do you think we could do about that in coming weeks? I got a theory that not only are we not yet at the point where the death is going to hit us big, we're also at that point where the second or the third month comes and a lot more people aren't going to have food. How can we at the grassroots get the word out to other people who might help? What are some things we can get ready to do when the disaster really hits to make sure that a lot of people who never before needed that help, even if they don't have a lot of money, there are a lot of people who are making it,
Yeah.
who aren't going to be making it. Any thoughts on what we could do together in the community, the media, to get neighbors helping neighbors more?
Paul, I think to me, because it's going around the whole country, it's really states, residents trying to help the state. So I think that when you look in Connecticut, they say that Connecticut is like, we have a lot of wealthy people that live here. I'm hoping that some of the people that live here got a conscience and and
Mm.
and try to help give back. You got people flying, getting masks and stuff, donating to help with this. The same way they donate like that, Paul. We need to figure out how to identify people who want to give back some money, so we could buy food in bulk and try to distribute this food. Because if we can't get this food to these people, like you said, the death toll, I agree with you. I don't think it really hit us yet. I think within the next 10 days to 14 days, these numbers are going to go where they need to go. But I do feel, because I ride around a lot, that either one or two things gonna happen. Either we gonna kill the virus or the virus gonna kill us. I think what's happening, Paul, is that we are separating the virus, and it's where it's at, and it's doing its doing. So I think, yeah, these numbers gonna rise. The more people might die, and it's sad to say that, but I think because of what people are doing in our city, um, it's not gonna continue to spread,
Mm.
because we are separating each other. Like when I ride around, you barely see people around for that virus to jump to somebody. Even if they say if you sneeze now, it goes 27 feet. But if somebody's 60 feet in front of you, you know what I mean? You still, that virus ain't going to jump on. So
Okay, here's
it's
where
going
we
to
got.
go.
Here's where Ronnie and Paul are going to disagree. We'll see who's right.
Okay.
I agree with you about everything you just said. I think because of everything you just said, a lot fewer people are going to die. I think because of everything you just said, a lot fewer people are going to get sick. But I think it was too late to completely stop it. A lot of people were already sick who didn't know they were sick. Every day our numbers are going to double. I think that middle of April, we're all going to know a lot more people than we already know who are sick and are going to die.
Well, I'm going to tell you one reason why I disagree with you.
And I hope you're right.
Here's what, you know, and this is a good debate to talk about, that although the virus is impacting everybody, it's impacting them all in a different way. I say that to say that a lot of people, Black, are getting it, and some are dying. So when you look at this community, is our community a community of Black people that we could walk around with it and not have symptoms and not really have to go to the hospital? So here's what you got to think about, Paul, because if we're a city like that, then yeah, we might have it. But if we separate ourselves, and we don't get symptoms, you're right. The numbers, we all get it, but it's what happened when you get it. And what I'm realizing is in other ethnicities, a lot of people get it. Like you see the families, they got families that 5 people out of 8 get it, and 4 of them die. And, you know, but I think they're going to do the studies, the genetics. It's going to be a lot of different things about different people that it affects us differently. So that's why when you looking at it, and I'm glad that we had this conversation, you looking at perspective of, you know, you're white, you're Jewish. I'm looking at it, I'm Black. I see Black people getting it. I see white people, and I see Jewish people. But what I mostly see, Paul, is the people that look like me. So that's what my brain is really looking at, what's happening there, because, you know, that's what I see, because I'm in New Haven.
Well, I hope you're
right.
A
lot of my people, they Black.
I hope you're right that they're not going to get it bad. I hope you're right.
Well, Paul, I don't want nobody to get it bad.
I know you don't.
You know what I mean? I just, you know, it's crazy.
And you're right. We don't know the science. I'm kind of going from the idea that everybody gets it.
Yeah. Maybe, and I believe that too. I believe I believe all of us gonna get it. But they said, well, we could get it, and like I can have it. It don't bother me. You could have it, and it bust you down. Mm-hmm. So we don't, you know, we all gonna get it. I do feel that, but it's just what's gonna happen when that virus attack my body, the genes that's in my body, how it's gonna react to that virus. I don't know. You know what I mean? The number's going to show that. Like, and right now, they can't really do the data on that right now, because what they're trying to do, they're trying to save lives. It ain't about data right now.
Yeah.
No, it's about saving lives. But after they save the lives, Paul, they're going to have to do a study on how it impacted each, you know, ethnicity differently, because them numbers going to show, you know?
All right. Harry Drost, you got some questions from our listeners.
We got a lot of comments.
Okay.
Seth Poole says plant seeds, grow food. Daryl Bracken Jr. says community gardens and garden beds may be one small piece of the answer to the 3-month plan. Brian L. Jenkins says the city determines who the Democratic governor, state treasurer, and to a lesser extent, the U.S. senators will be. But how are businesses like Rodney's benefiting from those incumbencies? Let's see. Brian L. Jenkins also says investing in businesses like Rodney's reduces the crime rate, reduces the entries to gangs involvement, and allows young men to acquire a skill that they wouldn't otherwise have. And Darnell Goldson says, let's be real. Roadblocks are set to stop the small business guys from participating. There you go.
All right, Harry. Thanks, everybody, for those great comments. Thanks for listening. So I think, Rodney, we agree a lot more than we disagree. We could say that we agree that the last place this money's trickling down is where it's needed the most, which is in the community. I think we can agree that no one community more than the other deserves attention for what they didn't do before. Now it's a question of saving everybody's life. I think we agree that we need a combination of people in charge doing a much better job of figuring out how to get the aid for small business and other kinds of assistance deeper into the community, and that we need those of us in the community to try to figure out how we can demand a better stake, a better share of the benefits that are flowing down now to help us get through this COVID-19 crisis. Is that a fair summary?
That is. That
All
is.
right. Before we, and I love chatting with you, Rodney, I always do. Anything else you want to say before we go about what you're doing to keep safe or what you want the community to do to keep safe with COVID-19?
Honestly, Paul, I think we need to pray more, because like you said, Paul, what's about to hit us, I think some people about to die. And I think we need to just pray for these people and try to figure out, I think that we need to figure out right now how we help people going forward. Because we need to start figuring that out now, and I think that that's what the people in our community it should be a team of people focusing on how to help people now, but some people need to be figuring out how to help people later. So when this thing die down, we got something already figured out, like strategically. And I don't think that that's happening. I think that, leaders need to lead, but I think some leaders right now, and I don't care if they get mad about what I'm saying, I think that honestly, they stuck, Paul, that this was something that nobody thought was going to come, and they're confused. So it's like they in their corner, scared and nervous. I don't think that that's what's needed right now. I think that the leader is like, I feel like I'm a soldier, you know what I mean? And I fight for my community.
All right, well, keep fighting, Rodney.
Yeah.
Let's let everybody know how we can all help and pull together, get through the darkest days we've known in a long time. We're about to hit the peak, if the experts are right. Next 2 weeks in April, just around Easter and Passover.
And that's what the crazy thing is, Paul. It's like one of the biggest religious days of the year. How could the timing be as bad as this?
All right. Well, let's pull together and make it out stronger in the end if we can.
All right.
Rodney Williams, thanks so much for joining us on Dateline New Haven. It is always great to have you on the air.
Appreciate you inviting me, Paul. Thank you.
You're a good man. I hope that all the work you do in the community continues to bear fruit. I want to thank Harry Droth, our station manager, for the miracle man behind the controls. We're going to take it out with the Afro-Semitic Experience, performing I Wish I Knew How It Would Feel to Be Free, from the group CD, A Plea for Peace. This is Paul Bass inviting you to fly free with us all weekend long at WNHH, New Haven's home, our community radio.